Today we're talking through the good, the bad, and the ugly of sports card and trading card repacks within the hobby. This is a pretty good way for people to get scammed, and I'm going to take you through some tips and tricks on what to look out for and highlight some pretty good examples of the repack that's actually being done right here in Australia. They are being offered globally. It's not a sponsorship or anything like that. I just want to talk about it because these guys are doing it right, and this is the good example, or this is the example we should expect from others within the hobby. Now, before I get into some examples of bad things within repacks, I want to quickly highlight for those of you that are not aware, what a repack is. A repack is when a card store or an individual is trying to sell a bunch of different cards. They're struggling to sell them, so they put them into a mystery box, lucky dip style product. They'll have like a LeBron James 1-of-1 as an example that they want to offload, and they put that as the centerpiece within their product, and then they put a bunch of other cards within there, wrap them up into single card packages that you can't see what's within, and then sell those at a pretty high price to try and move the product pretty well, because people go ahead and buy them to try and chase that LeBron, right? You could have a $10,000 LeBron card. The repacks might be worth $100. You can spend $100 to win a $10,000 card is essentially the aim of the game here. And they're a really good way when done right to offload product and to get product in the hands of people, because you can obviously, like I just explained, reduce the cost of certain cards. The problem comes when the rest of the cards in that pack are just terrible inserts, so you're not getting your money's worth if you don't hit the card you're trying to chase. So it's very gambling-esque. It's very similar to group breaking in that sense. But what often happens in this space is a lot of people that do sell these, or the ones that are selling these, are trying to rip you off as a customer, because they'll do some hanky-panky with regards to, saying they're putting that LeBron 1-of-1 in there, if we continue to use that example. They say they put it in there, but they didn't. So they're selling the packs knowing it's not in there. They're going to make a small fortune. Meanwhile, they've still got the card in their PC somewhere. Or as we've seen with other instances as well, they've marked the box that has the hit in there so they can make sure that they sell that box to a specific person, i.e. somebody on social media, to try and get some sort of, clout and marketing around them as a store, them as a seller, or as a vlogger, whatever it is that they are. Or they'll market to try and offload to a friend to make sure that, their friend gets it, they can mask it as a legitimate sale, and then they can still pocket the card themselves. And this sort of stuff, happens quite a lot. And if you check out on YouTube, you'll see pretty quickly that a lot of these scams, it's quite prevalent, and it's not just, in the last couple of years, they've been happening for a long time. When you search it in YouTube, you're going to see a lot of Magic the Gathering, but if you check out blowout forums, if you check out Facebook, you're going to see a lot of sports card repacks. You can see a video up here that I put out 3 months ago. The reason why I'm talking about this again is because there's a few more tips and tricks I want to highlight, and then also shout out this Aussie company. But these are pretty alarming, and if I remember correctly, there was a repack that was being sold out at the National, I think it was last year or the year before, where they had all the repack products at the table. A person came in and I forget what the card it was. I think it was a high-end LeBron that they wanted to buy, and they worked out that the price to buy all the repack products was cheaper for them to buy them all than it was to buy that LeBron themselves. So they offered to do that, and the person said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sell you every product. And that's a huge red flag right there, because that very clearly indicates that the LeBron probably wasn't in those boxes. And if I remember correctly as well, there was some fallout off the back of that did somewhat indicate that this was a scam. This person had done similar things in the past. I just tried doing a search for it. I can't find anything online, but it did happen, so take my word for it. It was just a very alarming situation, because in that instance, let's say that person was being legitimate, they were a seller. Why would you not want to, offload them all to one person? You're going to make your money back. You're going to get the price that you wanted. So what's the big deal? The problem is that you probably didn't have LeBron in there in the first place. And where these repacks also go wrong, and another red flag for you to avoid when you do see this, is these guys do not put checklists together for what is in the product. You often see that there'll be very expensive cards, right? And they'll put screenshots of what those cards look like, but you don't know how many repacks there are. They don't tell you what every other card is within that set, so you don't sort of know what value you're getting out of that pack in general. Yes, it is gambling. It is similar to group breaking, as I touched on a bit earlier. You want to try and chase that, rare LeBron, that 1-of-1 as an example, that might be worth $10,000. You want to flip that 100 into 10 grand. But if you don't know what the checklist looks like, you don't know what the rest of the cards are, which means what do these guys often do when they don't put a checklist together? They put dollar cards in there. They put utterly crap cards in there, or they'll, again, pretend they've got things in there that they don't. And when you see that sort of stuff, that's the thing you need to avoid, because repacks are blowing up a little bit in the last, I want to say, year. They've always been around, like I touched on, but they're more prevalent now. And I talked in my last video around why that was the case. When you look at the hobby in general, so many people overpaid over the last 2 years, right? A lot of people made mistakes, so on and so forth. And the bad actors within the hobby are trying to like recoup that money and try and capitalize on that naivety that still persists within the hobby. And they do that by putting these repacks together, not putting a checklist in there, filling it with crap, and either pocketing the hits or putting that many utterly crap cards within there that they're making bank on it. So even if they do hit the other card early on, they still made a lot of money from you as an individual. And by not telling you how many packs there are altogether also paints a pretty negative picture, because, you know, you might have a 1 in 100 chance of getting this LeBron if they had 100 packs, but if they don't tell you how many packs there are, what if there's 10,000, right? You've literally got, you're not going to get that card that you want, and it means they've probably put 9,000 $1 cards in there. And again, these businesses are free and these people are free to do what they want. My point of raising this is for you to be aware, so when you go to a show, you're not going to make the mistake of buying them without at least asking these kinds of questions. The questions you should be asking is, how many repacks are there? What's the checklist? How many have been sold? How many hits have there been? Have you paid attention to where the hits have been? Can you put me in touch with people that have bought some so I can get an understanding what they look like? How long have you been selling this repack for? How long has it been sitting on your shelf? Was this just for this one show? These are all the things you need to ask, because if you get a response from any of those that, you know, make you a little bit uneasy in your gut, you should probably avoid them, because like I said, so many guys are out there milking the hobby, taking advantage big time. And I don't want to be painting this stuff as doom and gloom all the time. People say I'm too negative. I'm trying to educate you all. I'm trying to raise things to be front of mind for you so you can ask these questions so people can stop getting ripped off, because they prey on this naivety within the hobby. They prey on you trusting them as an individual. I don't want to say trust no one, right? Because that's a really poor situation to be in. But just ask these questions. If anybody gets offended with you asking these questions, that tells you all you need to know, in my opinion. Now, the thing I want to flag with you with regards to an Aussie company that does this really, really well is Card Lab. Now, these guys sell overseas. I forget who the breaker is they sell to in the US, but I'll get that and put it in the comments down below. The reason why these things are fantastic is, number one, they're not overly expensive. They have many different tiers, but what they do for their actual proper repack products, not their mystery packs, is you'll see here, you'll come over here. This is the Series 9 they've done for NBA Instant Hits. You can literally see here the full checklist of every single card that is in that set. And what these guys do, they do everything incredibly transparent. And that's all you want from this situation. The fact that they just have a checklist there is a huge positive for them. And I know there are other businesses out there that do them as well. So if you do know any, please drop them down in the comments below so everyone can be made aware. Now, if you want to check these guys out, they do a bunch of different things. They have many different series with regards to these products. Some of them are very expensive, like this one over here, the premium black box edition. It is sold out. It was $1,249. I believe that is AUD, not USD. And you can see here, this was only, you know, a 15 card product or 10 card product. So you had, you know, a pretty good chance to try and chase that Kobe Bryant that you saw on the front there, the National Treasures from 2010, 2011 game use patch. This stuff is freaking cool. So if you want to be interested in buying this sort of stuff, check these guys out. Like I said at the very intro, I'm not sponsored by doing this or anything like that. I just wanted to shout them out because they're doing things, you know, the right way. And I think not many are. They also did a live stream with the guys from Double Coverage the other day. I'll show you it here right now. I should have had this ready, sorry. The owner of them. So if you want to check, his name is Trent. If you want to check out the interview or get a bit more of an understanding as to what Trent likes to do, what he likes to collect, why he put this kind of product together, check it out. And like I said, there's very few repacks out there that are putting that checklist together. And some of you might say, well, that's not, like, who cares? The checklist is easy to do. It's not that it's easy to do or not that it's hard to do. It's the fact that when it's not there, it tells you everything you need to know, right? It's about being transparent in this situation, making things front of mind for people, for your customers, treating your customers with the respect you deserve. These guys look like they're doing that. I've not bought one of their repacks in the past. I'm about to buy one myself. I know people that have bought them. I've watched some of their breaks in the past as well. I believe they're going to be at the Sydney Hobby Hangout this Sunday. I've got a booth at that show, so if you are Sydney-based, come by, say hello. If not, you're going to see my vlog on that at some point in the next fortnight. So that was sort of it for this video. I know I've rehashed some of my repack topics in the past, but I think, you know, this is an important thing that needs to be constantly raised as front of mind within the hobby, because too many people are out there trying to rip you off as a customer. Check out Card Lab. I love the fact they've got their checklist. Their products are pretty affordable. Repacks are fun. I love, you know, scratching that itch. You know, I'm a bit of a gambler. I enjoy going into sports card breaks every now and then. I'm not one of these people that sort of live and breathe it, but this is my itch to try and scratch, right, by using this sort of stuff. And you can too if you are interested, so please check it out. If not, like I said, please in the bottom in the comments let me know, you know, what other repacks are out there that have checklists, because you know, there's a few other ones here in Australia, as an example, that are pretty big and pretty popular that do not have a checklist, and it's, you know, very, very disappointing to see. I've bought their checklist, their repacks in the past. I like their product, but there's no checklist. Whether it's hanky panky, who knows? The fact they've got no checklist is not good enough. So the fact that these guys do is awesome. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and yeah, catch you later.